This week's best MMA bets, we're talking UFC Abu Dhabi. I'm going to give you guys my lock of the week, most confident picks, favorite underdogs. We'll talk Degen Props of the night and then finish it out with the parlays. So make sure you guys smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe. Turn the post notifications on and make sure you share the video too. Last week, W week, once again. Savage mode week. The lock was Muhammad Mokaev. He was on the money. If you watched the most confident pick section, you know I swept that also. And both of my favorite underdogs hit. So UFC 304 was an ultimate success. If you ended up playing the Degen parlay, you hit over plus 1,200, which is at the end of the show. So I feel like I'm definitely on a roll right now. And I think that things have come together beautifully. So I am confident leading into UFC Abu Dhabi, but I'm not overconfident, okay? I'm keeping it smart, and I'm going to play it on the side of safe success. So I do have a chalky locky this week, and we're going to get right into it. So without further ado, the lock of the week.
Fighting out of Pensacola, Florida, Cedricos the Reaper.
Cedric Dumas over Denis Tululin. This, to me, jumped out the page. Yeah, it's a chalkier line in the low minus 200 range, but we're talking about a win that I think is near a sure thing because Denis Tululin is a 11-9 journeyman. Okay? Cedric Dumas is a 28-year-old prospect. Say what you want about his fight against Josh Fremd a while ago. He did have a 2-fight win streak, and his fight against Nursultan Rizziboyev, he really wasn't looking outgunned in the stand-up at all until he gets his eye gouged off, and then the ref doesn't jump in, and Rizziboyev stops him. So that fight was completely inconclusive. That was his last fight. Now this fight here is actually a rescheduling, so Dumas has had some more time to prepare for Tululin. If he's watching Tululin tape, he knows the same things that you and I all should know. He's a journeyman at best, a brawler whose only chance to win is a big punch to the chin. Cedric Dumas is a technically superior fighter. He's faster on the feet, and he has a way better ground game. Blank point to the point, straight up. Denis Tululin's mid. Now, Dumas is a minus 235 favorite coming into this fight, but you can find him as low as minus 210, which is definitely a lot nicer. Over 1.5 is minus 175. I lean towards yes on that, but the lock is the money line. Looking at Dumas to win it, how does he get it done? So I think decision is live at plus 300 because of his patience, but also there becomes a time that certain fighters find their stride. And even though Dumas had a stumble by controversial stoppage last time with Rizziboyev, he could be finding his best stride right now. And there is a chance that Dumas shows off the submission skills that we saw in Contender Series and submits to Denis Tululin. That's at plus 260. Chasing props on this fight is not what I love. I like Cedric Dumas as an A-tier parlay piece. At the end, I got some money parlays. I got a safe one, and you already know Dumas is going to be one of the names on it, and I think it's a high likelihood of hitting. I see him as pretty much better everywhere. What does Tululin have over him? Dumas is the better striker, the better wrestler, and the better grappler. The only way Cedric Dumas loses this fight is being completely reckless on the feet and fighting like a buffoon. Actually, you know how he loses this fight? If he smokes another damn infused joint heading into it, because that's why he got beat by Josh Fremd. He went into that fight baked off of his ass. He's not doing that in Abu Dhabi. You're doing 10 years in prison for smoking reefer in Abu Dhabi. So we don't have to worry about that with Dumas. Unless he's arrested for weed paraphernalia charges in Abu Dhabi, we got a winner this weekend. So Dumas is the lock. I'm feeling good about it. I'm going with my guy. I think Dumas has got skills. Don't write him off because of the Rizziboyev fight. He had 2 wins in a row. Tululin's on his way out. 3-fight losing streak, finished in all 3. Only UFC win is Jamie Pickett and the worst version of Jamie Pickett. This is Cedric Dumas' night. I don't doubt it one bit. And you shouldn't either. The lock, Dumas, to get it done. I got the most confident picks coming up next. I'll bring them all on screen. You see them plus money because I do have a dog in the most confident picks section. Now, we're going to go one by one. We'll talk about them all. We'll start it off. Guram Kutateladze to win over Jordan Vucenic. So, why is Guram a most confident pick? At the end of the day, 3 UFC fights. He lost to Elves Brenner, and that was disappointing last time. Elvis Brenner. I always be calling him Elves. But, okay, delete that fight. Just delete it out of your mind for a second. Don't judge him by his worst. Judge him by his best. Robbery loss to Ismagulov, who's pretty good. Controversial win over Mateusz Gamrot, who's a top contender. Kutateladze is a decent level guy. I mean, he's at least top 22, top 23. Jordan Vucenic, as good of a prospect as he looks over in Cage Warriors, remember that he's a featherweight. Coming into this fight up in weight on short notice against Guram, who say what you want about him. The gas tank, I think, is going to be okay. He's an all-stars guy training alongside Khamzat Chimaev. There's skills that are there, and I think Guram should have an advantage pretty much everywhere in this fight. I would say maybe Vucenic beats him in a jiu-jitsu match, but even that, I don't think Guram's getting finished, and I don't think he's getting dominated because Vucenic's a smaller guy. He's not going to be taking Guram down and controlling him. I don't see it. So Vucenic's going to have to either win this fight by knockout, which he's not necessarily known for. He's not a bad striker, but he's not known for knockouts. Or he's going to have to pull a knee bar out of his ass. And he has no wins by knee bar. Guram does have a loss by knee bar. And I said, all right, let's see if Vucenic's maybe got some knee bars, hidden under his fucking skill set, under his shorts. No, he doesn't have that. He's not known for it. I think we're going to see Guram cruise to a win. Guram's not a great finisher in the UFC, though, yet to get a UFC finish. I mean, he's 1-2 in the octagon. Could get a later finish in this fight because of Vucenic jumping in on short notice. But how I'll judge this fight is if they both have full camps. I'm really leaning Guram by decision, which is plus 105. He could get a knockout, which is plus 350, but I'm not 100% confident, shout out to the Zins, on the Guram Kutateladze knockout ability, even against Vucenic here. So I lean the win by a decision for Guram in this fight. And I think he can get back on track here. He's minus 205 against a short notice replacement. I think he's good to go. Guram, confident pick, and definitely somebody you can parlay up. Let's keep running. Next fight, Shamil Gaziev. Come on, bro. Gaziev is good. Say what you want. Okay, yeah, I know he lost to Jairzinho Rozenstruik. He got boxed up in that fight. He couldn't do anything. But Rozenstruik has been a staple of the top 12 for years now. He's got wins over elite-level strikers of the past, Alistair Overeem, Junior Dos Santos. I feel like you can't really harshly judge Gaziev for a loss to Rozenstruik in his second UFC outing because they moved him up way too quickly. Gaziev had a nice win against Budai, and he blitzed him and bullied him in that fight. And Budai is not very good, but Gaziev made Budai look horrible, and he beat the shit out of him. Dontel Mays on the other side is a mid-caliber guy. He's got a knockout of Andrei Arlovsky, but he's not impressive for the most part. I mean, when do you really watch Dontel Mays and say, wow, that's an elite heavyweight. Wow, that's a heavyweight I want to bet on. I've had Dontel Mays as a pick, and he's fumbled. I've had him as a lock in the past. He fumbles, he wins. He's a very 50-50 guy. And I just personally think that Shamil Gaziev is going to be able to beat a Dontel Mays. We're really going to find out Shamil's level, not in victory, because I really think that victory is a certainty for him in this fight here. It's more so Shamil Gaziev, does he go out and put it on Dontel Mays? Does he finish him off and actually rebuild a little bit of hype? Or does he cruise to a decision or win a close fight or, get himself in a hug fest and put the fans to sleep? Last time, Kyle Machado, Dontel Mays beat, but it was a competitive fight. Fight before that, he lost to Nascimento in a rematch. I rank Shamil Gaziev of similar level to Nascimento, who beat Dontel Mays twice, and of Augusto Sakai, who also beat Dontel Mays. Losing to guys like that, I think Shamil Gaziev should be good to go here. Even the fight before the Augusto Sakai fight, Mays lost a split decision that was overturned to a no contest against Hamdi Abdullah Wahab, who was taking steroids leading up to it. But damn, you'd never know what the physique that he had. Holy shit. But it's a story for another day. I think Shamil Gaziev should win. Better striker. I'd actually say he's faster than Dontel Mays. I think Mays' biggest asset is that he works with John Jones, but it hasn't necessarily rubbed off to make him a high caliber heavyweight. like I said, mid-tier, journeyman, level heavyweight is going to beat the bottom of the barrel guys, but I don't think he beats a mid-caliber guy that probably finds himself straying in the back end of the top 15. I think Gaziev is faster for sure. I think he's the better grappler. I do think Gaziev could be live to win by submission. You'll be chasing sub a little bit, but it's not a crazy idea at the plus money. Plus 400 for a Gaziev sub. I know most would probably lean towards a Gaziev KO, but I could see him wearing on Dontel Mays, touching him up a bit, and then eventually subbing him. But, I don't love that bet. I just had to read off a potential prop. I think Gaziev, around that minus 220 range becomes a parlay piece, and I think he's en route to getting a UFC win. He should beat a Dontel Mays caliber guy, especially in Abu Dhabi, his side of the world. I don't see him fumbling the bag. I got Gaziev. Next fight. Ladies going after it. Mackenzie Dern, Lupi Godinez. I think Godinez gets a close decision, maybe even a split. She's plus 100 here. I like her as a dog. I think she's got a chance, man. I had to throw a dog in the mix this week because I thought, do I want to go all favorites in the most confident picks and then put like an unproven Kawe Fernandez, who I think is going to win, but I didn't want to add him in. I think Godinez has got that dog in her more than Dern. Dern's a flawed striker. She's got good jiu-jitsu, but she's going to be at a wrestling disadvantage here against Lupi. Lupi is also going to have better boxing than her. She's a little bit cleaner with her technique. And, I think she wants it more. Dern has reached the highest heights, and we've seen her full ceiling, right? I think Godinez still is improving each and every time. She had a decent fight against Verna Jandiroba last time. Yes, she lost the decision, but looking how good Verna looked against Amanda Lemos, is that really a bad way to lose to Jandiroba? I don't think so. Now, I know Dern some years ago beat Jandiroba, but it's not the same Jandiroba that Dern beat. I think Godinez wins a split decision, or even a 29-28 across all three cards. Plus 100 on the money line. I think she's a good underdog. The over 2.5 is likely at minus 270. Godinez by decision is only plus 125. That's not great, but I do think we're going distance. I don't see Dern finishing Lupi, either with punches or with grappling. I don't see her subbing her. So she's got to win a decision, and I think Godinez is a better round winner. So I can see Lupi on the cards with some more significant strikes, maybe timing a takedown or two, but even if she doesn't get a takedown, I think she can win the clinch battle also. So Lupi Godinez is going to be a confident pick, even as an underdog, okay? Now, the final one is Umar Nurmagomedov at 3-1. I know the odds suck, and I know you guys will say, bro, he's unproven. Give me the Sandman. I think he can win this, and I get that side. I don't think you're crazy for it. The reason I'm confident on Umar is not because of the odds. It's just, I think, is written in the stars, man. The Dagestan fighters, the Eagle team, even if they haven't fought the elite in the cage, they've trained with the elite. We have an Umar Nurmagomedov who has worked alongside his brother Usman, who's one of the best outside of the UFC, Islam Makhachev, who is the lightweight champ, Habib, who is maybe the best lightweight ever. Many will say at least the most dominant lightweight ever. So for years, that's what he works with. And Sandhagen, as good as he is, he's been using grappling in fights recently. That option's out the window here. And it's not like Umar Nurmagomedov lacks striking skill. I think Umar gets the win. I'm putting Umar down as a confident pick. I think he can pull through. Minus 300 for Umar Nurmagomedov. We're putting a main event call in the confident pick section, which sometimes I like to avoid. But this week, it just seems like it has to be done. Now, Moneyline sucks here. It's a confident pick because of, I think, the destiny at stake. And I think Umar Nurmagomedov is going to live up to the hype. Now, how does he win? Official prediction, I lean decision. The over 2.5 is minus 275. But I will say there's a chance that Umar shines more than we could ever expect and he gets a sub, which is up at plus 300. But I personally, wouldn't want to be throwing down substantial amounts on the damn submission. I think Umar becomes a parlay piece, but the odds a little rough. I would have liked to have seen him, excuse me, at a minus 200 line. But instead, it's at 3-1, so I'll take it as I get it. I think 3-1's okay, though. As far as, likelihood of success, yeah. It's not a great line. I wish it was closer. I mean, if you look at open, Umar opened up at minus 400. So, damn, even the books were confident that Umar is going to body Corey Sandhagen, who's really good. But I think Umar's different. I think he's built different. So Umar Nurmagomedov to close out the most confident picks. Those are the 5 locks really on the card. And I think it's going to be a good week. I'm excited as hell for it. And we'll talk parlays at the end where we'll bring some of those in. Now, the next section, I do want to talk about some of my favorite underdogs on the card. So I have 3 favorite dogs, and I'll bring them up on screen. We'll talk about them. So we have Bedoya, we have Elfsbrenner, and we have Chito Vera. First, though, I want to talk about Bedoya, and this will be in order of confidence, to be 100% with you. Rolando Bedoya, I almost went Degen and said, fuck it, let me do the Bedoya lock. But I said, no, let's not call him a lock, but let's call him a favorite underdog. Because Bedoya is dropping to 155 pounds in training at Shoot the Box Diego Lima alongside Charles Oliveira, and I am impressed by the physique. If you haven't seen the bodily changes Bedoya has made, you'll see him at weigh-ins, and that's going to up your confidence in him against Jai Herbert, who ultimately is a decent British striker. He's a mid-caliber guy. We know his ceiling. Whereas Bedoya's debut, he really was close with Chaos Williams. He could have got that decision. And then Kenan Song got a clean win over him. He got worked a bit in that fight. But he's been at his wrong weight class. He was a chubby welterweight. Now he's a ripped 55er. And I think that is going to change his game. And training with the Shoot That Box team, I expect some wrinkles in the ground game to show. And, you know, taking on a British striker. Now, the Brits have definitely evolved their wrestling, but the British wrestling, the British grappling is still not to the caliber of the Brazilian savages like Shoot the Box Diego Lima's producing. And even though obviously I know that our boy Bedoya is not of Brazilian descent, he's training with the Brazilians, so sweating with them. He's got a little Brazilian DNA sweating inside of his veins or something like that. You know, he's absorbing some Brazilian savagery. I expect the grappling to be there. He's a plus 120 underdog. I think the money line is the A side. I like Bedoya's chances here. You could easily be 1-1 in the UFC. You can't harp on the loss against Kenan Song too much, or even the fight against Chaos. Dropping to 155. He's looking to reinvent himself, and this dude's in his mid-20s. Whereas we have, you know, a 36-year-old on the other side with Jai Herbert. We know Herbert's level. Bedoya could improve 25% since his last fight. You get what I mean here? And at 155, I think we could see the best Bedoya ever. So Rolando Bedoya, favorite underdog. Now, we do have 2 more to talk about. But like I said, it's order of confidence. Elfsbrenner, plus 165. Okay, I like the odds. Let me tell you why I'm picking Elfsbrenner over Joel Alvarez. Even though I like Alvarez a lot, I've picked him in the past. He's got slick jiu-jitsu. He's got dangerous striking. He's really tall. His takedown defense sucks. And Elfsbrenner has good jiu-jitsu, and he's got knockout power. So I think we may see Brenner find himself in top position, stifle Alvarez's offensive jiu-jitsu from the bottom, and I think he would be live to get it on the cards. And I do think he can land some big shots on the feet, do some damage with ground and pound. I see it as a competitive fight. The money line of Elfsbrenner would be the only side. You don't need to go chasing props, man. Don't go chasing props. Don't go chasing prop bets. Plus 165 is better than that, man. Better than throwing down, oh, I'm going to look for a late knockout. He could finish Alvarez, but it could be a grapple-heavy decision. It could be a one-punch KO, but he could get it done differently. So, man, I got to drink some water up in here. That Zin's got my mouth dried out. Brenner's the pick, man. Brenner's gonna bark as a dog. I think he's got a good chance of winning. I don't know. I got this feeling inside of me that tells Elfsbrenner. He did okay last time against a really good wrestler in Mitabek Otabai. He's now taking on a decent guy in Joel Alvarez, and I think he can win. I'm going Brenner for the W. Dog money. Chito Vera. So, Chito Vera is in a 50-50 fight because Figgy's wrestling is going to be his focus here. Figgy's got good striking, but what happens if Figgy is focused so much on developing this dominant grappling skill set that he hasn't been working the striking the same? He's in there with a bigger guy in Marlon Vera, and he gets rocked by a big shot. Marlon Vera is still incredibly dangerous, and I can't be overconfident on a Figgy side. I'm picking Marlon Vera. It's a close fight. It's a coin flip. Plus 125. I think Chito wins this thing. I think Chito can do some damage in this fight, maybe even rock Figueiredo. Maybe this fight ends in a draw. Plus 6,600. Are we going for the draw? Figueiredo wins the first 2 rounds. Then Vera gets a 10-8 in round 3, and you're betting the draw. He drops Figueiredo, but he's unable to stop him, and he gets a majority draw on the judges' scorecards. That's how it goes down. That would be crazy. I like Chito Vera's striking here. I like his leg kicks. I like his distance. I like his takedown defense. And I don't think you can write off Vera just because like O'Malley touched him up or he lost to Corey Sandhagen. There's a lot of dog left in Vera. And Figueiredo, though he has 2 wins in the UFC bantamweight division, almost at flyweight. We know he's a former flyweight champ. Cody Garbrandt last time. Cody's washed, okay? Simple fact. Cody's washed now. Rob Font wins okay, but ultimately it's Rob Font. He got a hard-fought decision there. It doesn't tell me he's automatically dominating Vera. And also, Figueiredo is 36. The bantamweight division, 36. Come on. Vera's young. Vera's still got some fight left in him. And I think people are kind of losing hope because he got worked against O'Malley. But I think that Sean O'Malley is just that good. Chito Vera to pull off the upset, plus 125. I like it. Those are my favorite underdogs for this card. Now, I want to jump to the next section and read off a couple Degen props. We got 2 of them. So, one for the people, Tony Ferguson by submission, plus 1,200. We're praying and we're hoping. He's been sparring leading up to the fight. He's a huge underdog, and Michael Chiesa is not that good. How the hell is Michael Chiesa minus 650, bro? Chiesa at minus 650, is he Dagestan blood now? Absolutely not. Even though T. Ferg's on a 7-fight losing streak, he could pull off a win. And we know Chiesa's got the Darce choke weakness. He gets locked in him. And I think that Ferguson could find one. So chasing it is not a bad idea. I did pick Chiesa, but minus 650 is stupid. Minus 650 makes 0 sense. And Ferguson's been sparring again, which gives me confidence. Now, next one is the Fernandez Yaya over 1.5 at minus 150. I'm pretty confident Kawhi Fernandez wins. He's a minus 400 favorite. I just didn't want to put him in the most confident pick section. He's an honorable mention there, but it's just, extremely wide odds. Relatively unproven guy versus relatively unproven guy. It just seemed like there's better things I could have placed there. The over 1.5 makes sense, though, because even though Fernandez has some knockouts, he's also won decisions. Yaya is not easy to put away. Yaya has been submitted before, but Fernandez is not a submission ace, though he's got 2 wins by sub, more known for the knockout. Yaya fighting at a calculated pace. I expect Fernandez to be wrestling a bit, so that's something to note. Over 1.5 at minus 150. I kind of like in that fight. Those are the Degen props. I do want to jump to the famed and fan favorite section, the parlays. Well, I've been killing it. This is last week's slate, okay? The only one that was missed was the Bannon, Loughran, and Bukauskas over alternate parlay. That wasn't a main play. Look at the Savage, right? Pimblett, Elliott, Mokaev, Aspinall, Allen, plus 1,230. So pretty much everything was crushed last week. We went on fire, and that's 2 weeks in a row of me hitting the Savage parlays, because the week before we had underdogs as well with Duho Choi getting it done, and was even bigger. It was like a plus 2,000 the week before. But 2 weeks in a row, plus 1,000 or more, things are moving nicely. So I am going to bring up this week's slate of the parlays, and let's talk about them. Now, I did add a few extra because I don't know. I just felt like it was the money move. I had a good feeling. Now, you look at it here. We got Cedric Dumas and Shamil Gaziev. I like the calls of that. Plus 112, that's safe. That should hit you. A lock, a high confident money call. Dumas, Gaziev, Kutaladze, safe-ish as well. I think it hits. Plus 213, gets you a 2-to-1 zone. Dumas, Gaziev, Kutaladze, and Nurmagomedov. So high confidence picks, all favorites all together. Plus 317. Very live. And it's a little bit cut off at the end. That could be bad luck because I didn't mean for that cutoff to happen. So be cautious on that one, okay? A little alternate safe-ish call is Dumas and Godinez, so a lock with a dog, plus 210. I like the likelihood. Dumas, Godinez, and Gaziev, if you're looking to chase some value, plus 345. I think that's live as well. Now, Godinez, Gaziev, and Kutateladze is essentially an alternate live one that's also plus 345 if you don't like the Dumas lock. Now, if you're looking to get into risky territory, you think I'm sweeping confidence? Dumas, Gaziev, Kutateladze, Nurmagomedov, and Godinez. Plus 775. I think it's very live. Now, an alternate, okay? 2 confident picks that were left out of the most confident pick section for some reasons. Oleksiejczuk's a tricky southpaw and Kawe Fernandez unproven. But if you put them together with a little alternate action, I still think it's a decent play. That's minus 120. And then a little more heat. Godinez, Bedoya, and Dumas is a Degen Savage play with 2 underdogs and the lock Dumas plus 600. I like those dogs a lot. Godinez, Bedoya, Dumas, Gaziev, and Kutateladze is a Savage call. Looking for value, looking for underdogs. You got plus 1384. It's Savage AF. Now, the absolute degeneracy. Godinez, Gaziev, Kutateladze, Dumas, Fernandez, Shara, and Nurmagomedov plus 1,489. Degeneracy at its finest. Now, I do want to do one live for you guys that I didn't write down simply because there wasn't enough room left on the damn page to write down this savagery. But I think you could add one more to that absolute degen one, put the underdog Bedoya, and then you got plus 3,490. If you're kind of on the side of being unsure on Kawe Fernandez, I don't think it's crazy for you to take him off. Now you're still at plus 2,710. And if you also don't like Shara Bullet, you still got over plus 1,000 for Lupi Godinez, Shamil Gaziev, Garam Kutateladze, Cedric Dumas. So all confident picks. Umar Nurmagomedov, confident pick, and Rolando Bedoya, plus 126. So you have 2 of my favorite underdogs with 4 very confident calls on the card. I think that... yeah, that could be pretty A tier. Plus 1,878. So another D-Gen one. This is why you got to listen. Don't just sit here, screenshot it, and book out. You got to hear what I'm saying because I always drop a couple extra after the fact. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this week's Best MMA Bets. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. I appreciate you all for watching. I appreciate you all for supporting. W in the comments if you got nothing to say to boost the algorithm for your boy. You guys are tremendous. And listen, daily content. Subscribe. If you haven't, subscribe it up. We're on fire right now, and I'm keeping that fire lit. We're going to kick some ass at UFC Abu Dhabi. Smash the likes on your way out. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.